You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. Every creator's journey starts somewhere. Sometimes it begins with a comic book in your hands, sometimes with a character you can't stop thinking about, and sometimes it starts with a simple question: what if I built something of my own? Across the indie comic landscape, more creators are stepping forward to build their own worlds, their own characters, their own stories, and their own publishing paths. Tonight, we sit down with Deece Casillas.
So close. You're almost there. Believe in yourself.
Casillas?
Casillas.
Casillas.
That's all right.
Damn.
That's all right.
My pronunciation is always going to be bad. And he is the creator behind Inferno Comics. From his creative background in comedy to launching a new indie comic label, to the stories and characters he's bringing into the world. This is a conversation about creativity, risk, and building something from the ground up. So settle in, because the Council of Nerds is now in session. Deece, welcome to the USDN, my friend.
Thanks for having me, man. And honestly, in today's climate in America, the less Hispanic you can make my last name sound the better. So, you know,
I wasn't trying to do that at all.
No. Honestly, it's good for me, really. I mean, you know, when they start shooting white women, it's over for the brown folks. Wrap it up. Game over. So, you know, that's when you know we lost. So I always tell people, I'm like, no, it was Casillas Berg when we came across Ellis Island. We dropped the Berg. Yeah, definitely not. We definitely didn't come across the southern border. Don't look behind the curtain, you know.
Dude, I don't know what is going on with this today, but all of a sudden it is not working on Facebook or Twitch, but we'll be live on YouTube tonight only.
All right. Yeah, sometimes you got
it happens from time to time.
You got to go back and like reconnect the destinations, and it just
that's already I double checked everything, and I think what had happened is I had accidentally had two projects in StreamYard, and for some reason one was giving me issues, so I started the other one, got everything built in there, and when I went to go live and I went over to Facebook to actually share it out, it was playing like last week's or 2 days ago show. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on right now. I ain't got time to mess with it. I'm like, I will figure this out later.
StreamYard is not always the most user-friendly, in my opinion.
They've made so many updates and upgrades to it over the last month, and it's like every time I go in there, which is very often, like every other day or two, I'm building a new show.
Yeah, and
it's something different and something new, and something's changed, and I'm just like, put it back to the way it was. I liked it then.
It worked so well, you know.
I'm like, you're just fucking with everything now, StreamYard. Come on.
Yeah, there's just some bored engineer trying to keep his job before AI takes it. And he's like, no, I'm updating it. Look, it's better. It's better. The AI can't do that. And they're like,
yeah, give it another year or two, and that guy's gone too, because I swear every time it's like, it's okay if they make changes to StreamYard, but make the program better and user-friendly for me.
Yeah.
Because it even does like an advertisement thing. Like you can advertise your show within the room you built. I'm like, I don't want to do that because otherwise, why am I building all this other stuff? Like,
Yeah.
I literally built you a hype video for this show. I'm like, and you're going to do my advertising? No, thank you. I will do it my old-fashioned way with Canva in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's already pre-built. All I do is drop the new images in,
Right.
change out the song, and put new words in it. Because that's once you have something built that works,
Yeah.
stick with it.
Plug and play.
Exactly. But let's dive into this and let everybody know who you are and kind of how did your journey into comics and storytelling begin?
Yeah, well, I am a internationally touring stand-up comedian by profession. That's what I do for a living. Been doing that in some form or fashion for about 20 years. Been a writer all my life. I've written in a bunch of formats. I mean, literally from a small child, all I ever wanted to do was write. And I loved comic books. I always wanted to write comic books, but I didn't really know how to get there. But I wanted to write everything. And I've been fortunate enough to publish books, do some TV, film, sketch stuff, worked in radio, comedy, obviously, written for a bunch of doing comedy and things. So, been able to parlay it into a living of doing what I love.
Dude, that's the dream right there. It's just doing something that you love to do. That way it doesn't feel like you're going to work every day.
It is nice. I will say it sounds great now, but I mean, there was years of like driving 5 hours to do 3 minutes on a show and get paid in a hot dog and sleep in my car. So like, I definitely, it wasn't like I just said, well, I'm going to do comedy and now I get to pay my mortgage that way. I mean, there was a lot of in between, man, that's part of the journey. I think is just that, delayed gratification thing, which I think too many people are missing these days, but the ability to kind of have long-term vision of how you want your life to look and slowly chipping away at it day by day.
100%, 100% on that one. Everybody wants the instant gratification of the now.
Yeah.
And I've literally been building what we're doing right now for over a year in this format that we're currently in. And it gets better each time I do this.
Well, also
for today, StreamYard just said, fuck it.
You'll also appreciate it better, because like
you really do.
If you work a shitty job for like a year to save up to buy like a 2010 Camry with cloth interior and 120 miles, you're going to fucking love that thing, right? But if somebody just gives you a Lamborghini, within 3 weeks, you're going to be eating McDonald's French fries, driving with your knee while you're on your cell phone taxi. Like you just don't give a shit because there was no investment into making that thing happen, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And if somebody gave me a Ferrari, I'd be like, this is cool and all, but I can go sell this and get my money out of it and go reinvest that into something I actually want.
There you go.
But so what were some particular comics or characters or maybe some other creators that kind of inspired you growing up to led you to where we are today?
Oh, well, this is fun. I can do this. This is actually the first comic book I ever owned in my life.
Nice.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy number 21 from I think 1990. And I'd read comic books before, but this was the first one that was like mine. And for you kids listening, this is not your newfangled Guardians of the Galaxy. There's no tree, there's no raccoon, none of that shit. This is the 31st century Guardians of the Galaxy with a bunch of characters I guarantee most of you have never heard of. But Jim Valentino, who's a really great guy. I've got to meet him, got to hang out with him and talk with him. He was been generous with his time with me over the years.
And you got it in a good top loader too. Look at you.
Oh, well, yeah. This is like I had to protect this one because this is the one that started the journey for me. That was where the first comic book that was mine. I had a bunch of older cousins who had comic books, and I was aware of them and watched like had action figures and watched the Batman 66 live action show, grew up knowing about Superman, Batman, things like that. But like, that was where my entry point of really falling in love with it. And from there, it was just on, man. I was a big X-Men fan. That's my main thing. But I really like weird, like C-list, D-list stuff. I think Guardians of the Galaxy was part of that journey. After Guardians of the Galaxy, I got really into Avengers West Coast. I got really into
that is an odd one.
It's an odd one. I got really into X Factor. But that was like during Peter David's run, which is phenomenal. That was the stuff that I kind of cut my teeth on, and then started going back and reading more of the earlier X-Men stuff and then all the Claremont stuff. And that's what I grew up with in the 90s there. And then Image came around and Spawn released, and I kind of became a Spawn guy. And then all the stuff that started coming from Image was I just ate that up. Yeah. I mean, I was definitely in that same wheelhouse. I've got right next to my Guardians of the Galaxy, I have a Shadowhawk #1 also, because that was my first, also Jim Valentino, coincidentally, my first Image comic book. I just remember going to, it was one of the first times I got to actually go to a comic book store, because, I don't know about your experience, but for me, I just grew up going to the local 7-Eleven, and whatever they had this little rack on the floor. It was about, 4 feet wide, and, they'd get in 10 books every week, and it was just whatever they had, is what I would get into. But the first time I got to go to a comic book shop, actually, Shadowhawk #1 had just released, and I picked it up, and again, just enamored with it. And got into Image. I was never I didn't even read Spawn until #1, until probably almost the year 2000, I bet. Oh wow! Like I was into Shadowhawk. I was into Wildcats because I was a X-Men Jim Lee guy. Yeah. And those were the main things from Image. Then I kind of went back and started reading some of the other stuff. Like I got into the Max, which to me is one of the best comic book runs of all time. So yeah, that's kind of the stuff I cut my teeth with as far as comic books. But I think things really changed for me in the early 2000s with the when it became more writer driven and more character driven stories. You had people like Brian Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker, Greg Rucka, Joe Casey, some Grant Morrison and Warren Ellis, Mark Millar, guys like that mixed in there. And that was, I don't want to say it shaped the way I write, but it validated the way I wrote. Because I wrote, I always wrote in a way that was, I didn't feel was a traditional like style of writing for comic books. And then when I started reading these guys, I'm like, oh, you can do these other things, and that, along with how much film is influential in my creative journey, kind of shaped the way I create and write and build my stories.
So was there, I lost myself. I scrolled up too far. So your background is in comedy. And how did that world kind of influence the way you think about storytelling? Because Kill Stan, which is freaking phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you.
It like this guy just has a walk-in death wish, but he also has like comedic timing with it,
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. People always ask me when they find out I do stand-up comedy, like, "Oh, is your book funny?" And I'm like, I wouldn't call it a laugh riot.
No, not at all.
I go, there are comedic moments, but it's mostly dark humor, gallows humor.
Yes.
But the nice thing is with, having a background in writing and then having, such a breadth of background in comedy, there's ways to intertwine them to make them, this synergistically work together, and not feel jarring. You just got to find the right tone. So I kind of have like in almost anything I write, there is like a dark cynicism, a little bit of fatalism woven into that, probably because, that's me. So, that part of me leaks in to the story a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I wanted it to feel like approachable and read like, like it's in your head, like you're in his head, he's in your head, you're just kind of like on this journey, and feels very organic.
It was absolutely just such a fantastic read, and all the dark humor and just kind of like walking into certain situations, just being like, I was like, I relate to this guy minus the death wish.
Sure. Yeah. And that was really the idea, is I wanted people to feel very comfortable and like, it's very raw, it's very open, and allows people to kind of slide into the character pretty easily was the goal. And even the death wish part is, to give quick elevator pitch for listeners, the elevator pitch is suicide by vigilantism. It's a story about a guy who wants to end his own life, so he decides to do it through vigilantism. Kind of a neo-noir crime thriller on the surface, but really it's a character piece about one man's journey of loss, trauma, and the crazy things we do when we feel as if we have nothing left to live for. Yo, what up, man?
What's up, Kev?
My boy Kevin.
My dude. He's gonna be on soon.
Okay, yeah, I just did his show the other day too. I've known him for a long time. So that kind of idea of wanting to end your own life, I mean, I feel like everyone has that thought in some capacity and in some level. Some people it's a 10, some people it's a 1, but there is that like, is this worth it moment people have, at some point. Yeah. Some people have it once briefly, some people have it as a cloud over their head every single day. So I wanted that to be another feeling that people could be like, oh, this could be me, with the right, under the right circumstances. This is, you gotta.
So the problem though with Stan is Stan happens to be good at, I don't know if he's just good at what he does.
Yeah, he's
accidentally good at what he does.
Yeah, he's kind of
like the dude can't die.
He's like failing upwards,
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna fail, that's the way to do it.
yeah, I suppose it's better.
But no, guys, and I'm going to be 100% serious. I got to read book 1, and thank you for sending book 1. It's always a pleasure when somebody actually gives me something to read before I walk into one of these. I mean, I could build an interview, yeah, sure. But when I actually get to read it and enjoy it and get to know Stan, it makes it so much better for me because, god damn, I like Stan.
Yeah, well, that's one. Yeah, he doesn't. So you're one vote for him at least.
I mean, he's got some relatable moments in that first book where it's just like, damn, we've all just wanted to go in and just start throwing hands.
Yeah, lose yourself.
And that's yeah, exactly. But let's jump on to Inferno Comics and kind of like, what was this moment where you decided you wanted to launch your own publishing label? Rather than like the repeated, like, hey, let me send this to Dark Horse, let me send this to Image, let me send it here and there. And
yeah, I mean, so I don't get me wrong, I did those things, but I also did those things knowing full well I would never get picked up. And not because I don't believe in this project, not because I don't think it's good enough, but because I mean, I just understand the business side of comic books where, I'm not they're not reading my book in a vacuum. They're reading my book against the, James Tinian's 8 new pitches he gave them, and Hickman's latest pitch, and Rick Remender's latest pitch, and the 3 things Kirkman wants to do. So like they're looking at their schedule and going, well, we have room for, I don't know how 50 new books, 50 books in a year, everything we're publishing plus room for new stuff. And like, do we want to pick up Hickman's 8th book, or do we want to do fucking Dickbag Casillas from Texas's book who we've never heard of? Like, I get why no one's, so like I did it. I did it knowing that it wouldn't get picked up, but I did it to kind of craft the pitch, hone me talking about the book, to help me know what the book's about, to force me to think about what the book's about and what is important about it and how to present it. Honestly, the funny thing is the way this book actually ended up getting made is I actually had an offer from a company named Apex Comics that wanted to do the book.
Yeah.
It's a small label, but Fabian Nicieza's brother is involved in the company. And I kind of know Fabian a little bit, and he posted something about his brother needed someone to volunteer at the LA Comic Con couple years ago to help run their booth for this company he has. And I was going to be in LA that weekend doing comedy anyway, stand-up comedy. So I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. Like I'll go hang out during the day, convention, comedy at night. Sounds great. So I did. I never mentioned the book the whole time I was there that I'd written this project, but I just wanted to maybe I'll glean some knowledge. Maybe I'll meet, who knows, and whatever. But weekend came and went, and after the weekend, Fabian's brother Mario, the guy who helps run the company, is part of the company Apex, called me and he's like, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you for helping out, and kind of didn't get to talk to you much, maybe get to know you a little more. I know you do stand-up comedy." He's like, "Do you write all your own material?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I write all my own material. I've written for a bunch of different things and blah blah blah." And he goes, "Do you write anything else?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've written for TV, film. I've published books, da da da." And he goes, "You ever think about writing a comic book?" And I go, "Well, actually, I have this book I've been working on. I just kind of had wrapped it up at the time." And he goes, "Well, send over the script to number one, and I'll take a look at it and give you some notes." And I'm like, "That's fine, sure." And he's like, "I'll email you back in a couple of days." And he emails back a couple of days later, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to send this up to our editor-in-chief and have him take a look at it too." And I'm like, "Great, someone else to give me notes, great." And then he emails me back and he goes, "Hey, do you have time to get on a call?" And I go, "Sure." So he scheduled this call, and the editor-in-chief was like, "Hey, we want to do this book." And I was like, "Oh, shit, okay." So we kind of started that started the ball rolling of me feeling like, oh, this book is actually really doable. And then for reasons, no animosity, I just kind of felt like it wasn't gonna work the way the book wasn't going to be exactly what I wanted it to be in the end, going through them. Like they had a house artist they wanted me to use who was like a really great artist. I won't name him, but it's a guy who's like an industry artist. He's worked on Thor, Superman, Captain America. Yeah. Like you guys can do the math if you want. But I'm like, this isn't the look I want on the book. And they were really firm on changing the name, and they wanted to do a 4-issue. They wanted me to condense it to like a 4-issue thing instead of 10 issues. And then if it goes well, write a follow-up. And I'm like, I don't know, man, it just isn't going the way I want. So I just kind of I'm like, you know what? I'm going to back up for a minute. And then I started looking at the logistics of it. And I'm like, I think I can do this myself, you know? And then I did, since I was a little kid, I wanted to name my label Inferno Comics. I've got old, pretend comic book covers I drew when I was 8, 9 years old. They have Inferno logo in the corner, and I just kept it going, and here we are.
Dude, I like it. I love to hear stories like that. And it's not necessarily like that was my almost success. Like, no, that was your one that led you to success with the book now. Because I think you're on what, number 4 now?
Yeah, we're number 4 is coming out soon. We're working on that right now. Like Kickstarter is launching in a couple weeks.
Awesome. I love getting to talk to people about a Kickstarter, getting ready to launch. It is like one of our favorite things to do. So the name Inferno Comics, can you give us kind of the story behind that name and why you landed on that?
Yes. So a lot of people have more than one person has asked me if it's related to the Inferno X-Men crossover, because, classic, arguably one of the best, if not the best crossover of all time. And no, it's not. Although I love that crossover, and anything that has Havoc dressed like a gimp sex slave has got to be good, right? We're on to some weird shit here. We're on to some weird shit, Alex Summers. What are you doing with your brother's wife? But
I won't touch that one. But no, you're right.
So, honestly, it's named after, I was obsessed with Dante's Inferno, with the book, like the divine divine comedy, the Dante Alighieri's Inferno. Read it a million times. I was obsessed with it at a very young age and still am, and that's why I named it after that.
So that was my first thought too as well, but I like to get the story behind it first, because there's nothing better than hearing the stories. And I'm a story person, obviously. That's why I kind of do what I do. And like I told you before we had started, I do enjoy taking the audience through the journey of the creator. So, but no, I'm a huge fan of the same thing. So, and hearing that's why you named it that is like top notch for me. So, So when you first started building Inferno, was Kill Stand like always the plan to go with that, or do you have some other titles maybe that you're going to eventually introduce on Inferno Comics?
So, I mean, I have got this sounds crazy when I say it, but it's true. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of comic book scripts I've written in my life. Some are many are ideas, original ideas. I've got, my Batman story. I've got my X-Men story. I've got my Ninja Turtles story I want to do, I like a 20-issue arc here, 10. I've got those things, but I've had a million original ideas that I've wanted to do, scripted out, fleshed out. But Kill Stand is actually one of the newer ideas I had.
Okay.
So I've tried to do comic book, indie comics in the past, and it just never worked out, which looking back now, I'm glad it didn't, because I probably wasn't ready or prepared to do what I needed to do. And this just wouldn't have told the story I wanted to tell. So I worked on a couple projects that I do want to tell eventually, that will come out, but not right away. This story, I actually wrote this story in 2020. So what happened is my best friend, another comedian, actually took his life in January of 2020. And it was, it was, tough experience. The guy was best friend for years. We toured together for years. He was the closest thing I ever had to a brother, and I say that having an actual brother. So we, and it was a challenging, a tough experience, because, I grew up in South Central LA in the 80s. It's not the first time I've I've seen plenty of people killed in front of me from a very young age. I've experienced a lot of that loss over the years. So it wasn't just that. It was, I was the one who had to do the wellness check with the police because he wasn't responding to anything. So getting into the house, identifying him, calling his parents, letting his parents know what happened. Yeah. And it was just a lot. Anyway, so that occurred. And then, March of 2020 rolls around and COVID happens. And then, I was living in Washington State at the time, which was one of the most lockdown states next to probably California. Yeah. And I was just kind of stuck in my house, watching people's lives crumble physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. People were just losing it.
Oh, yeah.
In so many different ways. And, watching things crumble in a way that was unprecedented for us. And then, there were civil unrest and all kinds of stuff. And I was watching some news article and I heard that I had already kind of started working on this idea of a guy with nothing to lose and nothing to live for. Mm-hmm. I heard this phrase, suicide by cop. And then the phrase suicide by vigilantism popped into my head. And I go, oh, that's interesting. And I kind of married that idea up with what I was percolating. Yeah. And then I was off to the races. And I just wrote this story. I wrote the whole thing in a couple months. And then I'm like, well, then soon after that, I did the convention with Mario and they read it and they liked it. And after they wanted to do it, and then after we split ways, I was like, I think I can do this. So I'm like, this is the story I need to tell out of all the ones I have. Like, this is the one that needs to be told right now.
Oh yeah. And that story very much resonates still, because we still see that. And I hate saying it, but fuck, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Like, just the way shit's been the last 5 or 6 years, man. It's one of those where it's like, I'd already brought my daughter had already been born, and I'm like, this isn't the place that I wanted this for her.
Yeah.
So
hoping this would be different. This is
definitely.
I didn't want to bring my daughter into the Terminator future.
Exactly. And John Connor's knocking on my door.
Yeah.
But that's a good reference. I like it. But so are you the only sole proprietor of Inferno, or is there other people behind the scenes with you?
It's pretty much just a one-man operation right now. Yeah.
I feel you.
So, when I say we, and when I refer to Inferno, it's like the royal we, we is in me.
Yeah. We.
Yeah. But I am working on trying to bring on some other creators and help publish their works too.
Yeah.
It's just been a little slow going because I'm busy, but that is part of the plan.
Busy means you're working and you're making money.
That is true. Yeah. It is part of the plan is to bring on some other creators. I just am very laser specific about what I want to publish under the label. So, and I don't mean a specific genre. I don't mean a specific style. I mean the content. I really want character driven stories with a purpose. If it's a cool superhero ditty, I'm not saying don't do it. That's just doesn't fit what we want to do.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And it's one of those where, we're probably both in our 40s. We've kind of earned that right at this point to be like, that ain't really our thing.
Yeah.
But we wish you luck.
Yeah, there is space for that out there. Plenty of space for that.
I talked to, God, I think I'm got 18 creators on this month. And, most of them are superhero related. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love superhero stuff. But it's when I get the project like the Kill Stands that I'm just like, that's what I want to talk about, is that kind of stuff, because it's fun. And I don't mean fun in a like, damn, this is a dark. I think that's funny, but it's a very character driven, outside of your normal comic book superhero. This guy just wants to die,
Right.
but he can't even do that right. He keeps fucking that up.
Yeah.
You know. So for me, I love those character driven, unique stories like that, and that's why I'm also such a big fan of the independent comic scene.
Yeah.
Is because you get so much of that kind of stuff, whether it's in the horror genre, the thriller genre, you know, the James Tynion genre, because he's his own genre now, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
and I love the guy. I absolutely love his work. I could read the dude all day, and there's some days where I do. And but yeah, that's the stuff I really love, and I love talking to the superheroes too. I love talking to those creators. I'm doing that in like 2 days, actually, talking to a guy building a new superhero world. And I love when people are building their own worlds, their own superheroes. And it's fun, but I like these darker, gritty, neo-noir type of stories. That's why I was such a huge fan of Sin City when Mark Millar released that.
Yeah.
Actually, to a point where my own comic book is very much a Sin City-esque type of story.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I really like. Anytime something like that comes across the desk, I'm like, yep, when do you want to do this?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what I did to you. It was like, hell yeah, when do you want to do it?
Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah. And it's you know, and to people out there writing other stuff, it's like, you know, you can write a character driven, purpose driven superhero story. Mm-hmm. You know, you can make that happen, and you know, or you can write a light and fluffy superhero ditty. Again, there's room for both. There's room for all. You know, do what you want to do. Just I know for me, I know what I love. I know what I want to read, and if I feel like I'm just reading like just kind of stuff happening, I'm not that interested. If there's subtext, if it's meaty to chew on, there's characters with complex nuances that I'm trying to figure out. Like that's the thing where I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you on that. And that will always, and you'll, as the USDN evolves, actually, it's already done this in later months coming up. I'm not saying I'm picking and choosing, but what I am saying, I'm not doing everything.
Yeah.
I've set myself a schedule. It's going to be one interview every 3 to 4 days, because what I'm doing currently isn't sustainable from my well-being. And when I say my well-being is, I actually want to watch some of the new TV shows that are out. And if I'm always writing and I'm always working and I'm always editing, I really want to watch the new One Piece.
Yeah.
You know, season 2 just dropped. I really want to watch it. Yeah. However, I can't watch it because until probably, you know, a couple of months from now, when I actually do get the chance to slow down, I will be able to watch it in probably June.
Yeah.
And it's a conscientious thing that I had to do is like, I'm going one interview every 3 to 4 days, because it gives me a lot of time in between things to watch TV, relax, maybe go to the beach and go for a drive.
Yeah, you gotta live a little, you know. That's how you get the creative juices to flow, is actually living, you know.
I would like to take the doors off my Bronco for once.
There you go.
I've had it for a year and I haven't even had the chance.
Yeah.
So independent comics currently are growing rapidly. Like, I mean, you look at my schedule and I think I have like 18 or 19 creators on this month alone. But from your perspective, what's making this such an exciting time for creator-owned comics?
I think that we have been on a swing, you know. I mean, you've been around long enough to know, and not even just comic books, but the world in general. I mean, whether it's entertainment, politics, etc., things swing really hard one way and then they swing back the other way even harder. This pendulum, you know. Mm-hmm. And we've been in a world of garbage media and entertainment
for so long.
Yeah, where it's just, you know, it's like this 30-second clickbait reels, no actual depth, no content. I mean, even like Netflix literally put out a memo that the Netflix movies that they're making, they tell the creators, you have to explain the plot at least 4 times in the movie because people are dumb and they're on their phones while they're watching. So, it's like, I mean, that's real. That sounds like a joke. That's real. Like that.
No, that's spot on.
So, it's just been, I think people are tired of that. And whether they realize it or not, people are starved for real art. Real content, something that matters. Everything is all this like AI, digital, 30-second dopamine.
Yeah.
It's just not tangible. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And people are starting to crave real art again. And I think that's what's helping the indie scene a lot. I mean, not even just the super indie scene, but like you see.
Oh, as a whole, 100% as a whole.
Yeah, well, I mean, even like Image and Vault and Mad Cave, like these books are they're starting to get really crank up right now, because people are just going away from this like machine cranked, just formulaic Marvel bullshit. We're just an IP house. We're just selling you these comic books so we can sell you fucking
the movie later,
action figures and movies is all,
Yep.
The stuff we actually care about. So yeah, people are looking for something a little more real. I mean, I do a lot of conventions. I think I did like 36 conventions in 2025.
Oh wow, dude, that's like
it was
a lot.
It was too much. It was stupid, but I did it. What surprised me a lot is how many younger people I was getting to my booth. How many people who I would assume most your average comic book reader probably does look like us, kind of late 30s, early 40s. Straight male is kind of your probably, I don't know, I would say 60+% of the market, if not 70%, easily. So, but I was getting kids who were like, in their early teens, 13, 14, and, coming up and buying the book. And then I would, I was doing this one convention in, it's a small convention in Del Rio, Texas, but they're very nice people. They brought me in as a featured guest and put me. They're very, very kind. And I'm doing.
Those are some of my favorite ones, though.
Oh, because you have time to connect with people, and the people are there really like trying to connect with you. But this guy, who's probably my age, maybe younger, came up with his young daughter who was probably, I don't know, 12, and. He's like, what's your book? He's like, oh, she was looking at your book and, she liked how it looked. I'm like, oh, cool. And he goes, what's it about? I go, well, I kind of look at him like, it's kind of a little adult. It's got some themes of self-harm and some violence and language and stuff. And he's like, that's okay. And she looks through it and she's like, can I get one? He goes, yeah. And he buys her one. And he bought her issue number 1. And then he came back. They came back the next day to the convention. They go, we came back just to get number 2. She loved number 1 so much. And I was really like, cool. And I was like,
the kids these days are exposed to that so soon.
Right. You go, yeah. I mean, that is so true. It just is like, it's this 12-year-old girl. And I'm like, oh, this this girl already gets it, like she's already on board with like wanting to get this real art in her hands. And I'm like, this is great. She's a kid we don't have to worry about. She's on the right path.
No, that's the way I see it every single time. And I love seeing, like, I've interviewed, and I say kids, and I'm using the term loosely. I'm thinking like, if I'm old enough to be your father, you're a kid to me. So like the guy who was just on with the manga studio in the Philippines, he's 22 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally old enough to be his father. But he's doing his own thing outside of the big system. Yeah. And within the manga community, it's like, unless you're coming out of Japan, nobody's really going to concern themselves with you. So he's got this huge uphill battle.
Right.
But he's so determined and so driven that, like, dude, good luck, man. I really hope you make it.
Yeah.
Then a lot of the guys who are like that might interview in a couple of days, I'm not sure how old he is, but he's like probably, again, young enough to be, a child of mine. And but he's building his own universe. He's created his own superhero. And I love that. And I love to see parents nurturing that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, especially, at these conventions, a lot of times, not all the time, there are parents who you can tell are just dragged there, but sometimes there's parents who are like also fans and they're with their kids who are becoming fans, which is like such a great, it's like, I mean, it's so heartwarming to see. What I would have given to have one of my parents give a shit about comic books when I was a kid.
Same.
So it was like, yeah, I just think that we're in this weird moment in history where, I mean, it sounds cliche because we hear it every time we turn on the news, but we're more divided than ever, right? And I mean that on almost every front. They've done a great job of dividing us politically, religiously, sexually, racially. They've masterfully done it. They've damn near accomplished their goal 100%. But like, so I think we're in this weird moment where I think a lot of society is going to start to split, where we're going to have the people who are going to absorb into their fucking Peter Attiel fucking matrix cocoons. And then we're going to have like the Luddites who like go into the woods and build their own little house and build a little homestead and have a little cow and a couple dogs. And I think that's going to be the next real divide we see in our country. But I think those people who are in the Luddite group are the ones that are going, we need something real, we need something real to spend our time on in this art, something that has some real soul to it, because everything that's pushed through the algorithm is so soulless. It's dead. It's empty. There's nothing. There's no, it's like, you ever had that drunk friend when they're so blacked out, they're still like soldiering on, but there's like nothing behind the eyes anymore. They're like
I might have been that friend once or twice.
Yeah. It's like that scene out of Jaws when Quint is describing the sharks. He's like, it's like black eyes, like a doll's eyes, It's like that look where it's like, there's eyes there, but there's nothing.
They're just fucking glazed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think we've all been there once or twice.
Yeah, maybe more than.
That's how you know you're living.
Yeah, I know I'm living because I don't remember it, and I was told how much fun I had.
Exactly. So what were some of your biggest challenges you ran into when you're starting to put the pieces together, whether it was finding people to collaborate with, produce the books, or building the actual brand itself?
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate. Getting the creative team together was a really easy process for me. Probably for a couple reasons. I have a background in business. I did, marketing, business development, consulting for a long time. So I'm pretty discerning. I knew what I wanted. The business aspect of it was fairly simple to kind of figure out. It was the marketing is the hardest thing.
Always.
That's just, it's like, how do you can create, someone can create the goddamn Mona Lisa, but if they post it on Instagram and only 8 people see it, then who gives a shit, So it's like, it's getting everything out there, which was the tricky part. And that is so challenging in today's ever-changing and very fickle market and algorithm-driven, entertainment consumption. I still say, I mean, I certainly haven't mastered it yet. I can definitely see how it's definitely way better than it was. I found out a couple things, done a couple things that seem to work better, but getting the team together was fairly easy. I did some research on some printers and kind of went, customer service was a big issue, who I could get a hold of, what they were willing to give me for paper samples. So because I had I wanted it to have a specific weight to it. Yeah. Price obviously is a factor. But I was willing to pay a little more if I was getting a better product with better customer service. But yeah, I think really the biggest hurdle was figuring out the marketing, because you make it, then you're like, now what do I do with it? But I put a ton of conventions on the calendar, and I'm like, I'm going to get in front of people. I'm going to, when I'm on tour for comedy, I'm going to walk into comic book shops in town and drop off copies of the book. Yeah, I'm going to, get into a lot of Facebook groups, Reddit groups, create Instagram groups of comic book creators, and just things like that. And it's slowly built. And it's I can feel it slowly but surely. It's definitely working. I've in about 20 retailers now.
Nice.
We've got a shop on our website. We, selling books every week. We got purchases coming off the website. Number one came out October 2024. So a little over a year ago. And I've probably, it doesn't sound like that much in grand terms, but I've probably sold 3,500 copies of that book in a little over
from an indie perspective. That's huge numbers, though.
So, and number two is probably 2,500, closing on 3,000, and then number three has only been out about 6 weeks, and we're probably we just did another order. That order will put us at like 1,400 books or something like that for number three.
Those are actually big numbers from a pure indie standpoint without a major machine behind it.
Yeah, I have no distribution. I have no marketing besides me. Just and I'm not not in the previews catalog or anything like that.
So you brought up paper. What kind of paper are you using?
I use a 70 or 80 weight.
Okay.
It's a heavier duty paper.
Yeah.
I think we do an 80 weight. Yeah, it's 80 weight matte finish paper.
That red and white would look so good on that matte finish.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. We really, the color, you see on the book, I was very specific about the way it was colored also. The saturation, the depth, the structure, the texture. The heavy blues and reds for that noir feel, using black gutters on the book. It took a little back and forth with my colorist through the first issue for him to understand what I wanted. But once we got it, now I just kind of give him basic color notes, and he's got it. He just cranks.
Yeah.
There's very little revisions.
And I brought up the thing about paper because I don't know if you've heard of Bad Idea Comics. They do murder podcasts, Cul-de-sac. They got a few other titles that are just really good. I think they're very up and coming, and they, to me, like, some of their stories are just phenomenal, but they print on almost like a newspaper.
Okay.
It's a very unique paper. It feels heavy, but as you turn the page, it gives you that old Sunday morning feel of turning the newspaper,
Yeah. I know there's some printers you can get that news strip paper still. I really just wanted it. It's one of the first things people say when they pick up a physical book is they go, "Oh, this is hefty. It's hardy." We use a heavier duty cardstock cover, and because again, I wanted the book to feel substantial. I wanted it, when you put my book on the shelf next to other retailers at like an LCS.
Yeah, you want it to feel premium.
Right. And people look at it and they're like, oh, it's got a good, the cover looks nice. They pick it up. It's got a good, good weight to it. You pick up most comic books and they're just like, flimsy.
Even Marvel is flimsy.
Yeah, just terrible. I mean, they're probably using their paper stock is probably honestly, probably like a 50 weight, maybe less. I mean,
it's probably less because it's a true floppy issue here recently.
Yeah. It's cheap.
Unless it's like something big cover coming out, like the Daniel Warren Johnson Wolverine cover.
Right. They'll use a little thicker on the cover.
Yeah.
It feels like, I'm not sure, but yeah, a lot of them are like self-covered now, where the book and the cover have the same weight. And
yeah. That's what Bad Idea does.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some of their stuff, like Murder Podcast, I think had a little bit thicker of a cover on it, but still the actual paper itself felt like newspaper, and I love that. It's such a unique thing to them.
Vibe? It's a vibe, and it creates.
It really is
create an ambiance with the book.
But it also allows them to produce more story per issue. Okay. Because they're not printing on expensive paper, they're giving you the story,
right.
Not necessarily the paper experience.
Yeah,
like an Image would do. Even Image though, like Free Planet is printing on just normal, the 50 mil or 60 mil, whatever it is. Which I'm a huge fan of Free Planet. Aubrey Sitterson, my dude, and I love that. It's the smell of the paper for me too. Each company has its own unique smell, and I know that's where we're talking about the smell of paper and the smell of a book, but
it's true, man.
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
So what do you think independent publishers can do today that the traditional comic industry sometimes just struggles with, other than putting out a good story?
Yeah. I mean, when you say traditional comic book industry, do you mean do you mean like Image, Dark Horse, the other big guys, or are we more talking about the institution of like Marvel?
I'm talking about the institutional ones, and you can even throw Image now into the institutional ones, but they're still very much indie because they still, print other people's stories.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they don't own anything. They're just printing what people, I mean, they're basically just a printer, essentially. Yep. A distributor, printer and distributor.
Yeah.
Which I love. It's such a great business. I mean, they nailed that business model.
That was the best business decision Todd probably ever made.
Yeah. So the question was, what do I think their biggest mistake is, or what can they?
Yeah. Like let me find it again. I'm losing myself.
That's okay. I just want to make sure I'm answering the question you actually asked me instead of just going on a tangent.
What do you think independent publishers can do today that the traditional comic industry sometimes struggles with?
Okay. Yeah. I will say this. I think so. Beyond just, like you said, beyond just creating a good story, I think a lot of it is like, when I am at a convention and people ask me about my book, or I'm there talking about my book, I'm really not trying. I really do this. And I didn't even realize this until later, but I don't even so much try to sell them on the book. I realize that I'm like telling them why I love the book and why I wrote the book, what the purpose of it is, more than anything. And that is like, I'm building and I realized like, I'm building like a connection with this person about why this thing is important to me, which gives them a trust in why it could be important to them, instead of me just going, hey, here's the thing I wrote, do you want to buy it? I'm like telling them about why I love this thing. And I think
the passion of the creator sells the book. And if you're passionate about what you're producing, they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to want to be a part of that.
Right. Yeah, it does. Whether consciously or subconsciously, that attraction of like, oh, this is like a thing that there's a magnetism there. And I think that coupled with like basically just being truly passionate about the medium. Like I on my Instagram, inferno.earth, the Instagram page, I obviously promote the book a lot, talk a lot about the book, have promotional artwork and upcoming stuff. But I also do a lot of other comic book related things that have nothing to do with with Kill Stan. Like every Monday, I post my pick of the week for New Comic Book Day that week. So I'll be like, oh, this is the book I'm looking forward to the most this week, because I want the people who follow me to be like, oh, this guy just loves comic books. Like he's still a Wednesday warrior. Like he's still going to the comic book shop and being like, whether I'm going or I pre-order and I'll pick them up later. Like I have a local comic book shop. I get books. I read them. I there's things I'm looking forward to. Or like on Wednesdays in my Instagram, I will do something called, because Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. So I do a thing called Old Comic Book Day, where I will pull an old comic book out of my collection that I love, that's important to me and has like a significance. And I will make a little reel and talk about it and talk about why I love it. And, things like that, where I'm like, I want people to know that like, I love this medium. I'm a fan before I'm a creator. And like, come along the journey, love comic books. Even if you don't read mine, love comic books. There's so much out there for everyone,
I always say there's something for everybody.
Yeah. So I think just being organic and like letting, not just be about, sales figures, but be about like, we really love this.
You're a fan.
Right.
You're a fan just like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I like it. And I used to do just straight up New Comic Book Days before I transitioned into like this. And I got to tell you, making new comic book content was tiresome. It was never ending. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. Yeah. I just didn't feel satisfied from that,
Sure. Yeah.
But no, I still enjoy, like, I forgot who it was. I think it's Low over at Dark City Comics does comic talks in his car. And it's just a fun, like 30 seconds or a minute long of like what he picked up for New Comic Book Day. And it's just enjoyable for me to see people doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's so fun to see. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm reading that one. All right. I'll have to look at that one. You know?
The biggest one, and this is, I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone, but one of the biggest like internal gut punches for me is when I meet an indie creator and they tell me how much they don't like, not in these words, but basically they tell me they don't care about comics, or like they don't read comics, or they never read comics. They're not a comic, like they're not a comic book fan. And I'm like, you fucking poser. Like,
exactly. That would be my first thought too. What a fucking poser.
Well, I try to be understanding, be like, yeah, it's a medium you can tell stories in. You don't have to, but but also I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Where's that little kid inside you at?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah, it just kind of blows my mind. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can trust a man who doesn't read comics.
Right. Especially if you're trying to.
Or lady.
It's like if you're, I don't know, I feel like if you're trying to get in that industry, you should have some knowledge.
At least the knowledge. Yeah.
Kind of this background in it,
Yeah. If you don't have at least one comic book that you've read multiple times, many times, to a point where it has your fingerprints engraved into the page, and then you love that comic book so much you've gone back to the LCS, refound that same comic book just so you can keep one in minty condition.
Yeah.
I have a few like that. I have a few series like that I have at least 2 runs of that series because I like that series so much. I can go to the box it's stored in, pull out that series, go back to my office space, put it down. All right.
Let's go.
One.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's worn that there's dog ears on it. There's like a page folded in half because I really like that splash page.
Yeah.
But and it's like you're careful when you open that splash page up because it's to that point where you've read it so many times. Like if you blow on it wrong, that whole page is going to rip in half.
Right.
That's a true story, y'all. I do have a comic book like that. And it's because it was that good, and I really enjoy the run of it. So, so you're working on Kill Stand right now, and future is to hopefully bring in some other guys to help publish them as well. So the future for Inferno is looking really good. What else do you think, or where else do you see you taking Inferno in the future?
Well, yeah, I mean, the next thing that come down the pipeline is very likely an anthology book.
Okay. I love a good anthology. Talk about bang for your buck.
Yeah, I really like, and I don't know how good it's, there's pros and cons to it, but I'm going to do it because I love it, the idea of it. But I want to do like a heavy metal type anthology. And I don't mean necessarily like that.
Because I was going to say heavy metal's back on shelves, so you can't exactly.
But I mean like where it's like wildly different stories with wildly different art styles, like you have an 8-page of this, you get 10 pages of this, you get 4 pages, and like part of it is because I like that style. Part of it is because I've got a lot of shorter stories I want to tell that I can compartmentalize into anthologies that I don't necessarily feel like I need to do a whole series for, but if I do an anthology, partly I want to do it as a testing ground. I want to pepper in a couple stories and see if one of them more than others really connects and be like, okay, maybe that one is the one I do need to bring into its own.
Yeah.
And
you know what? That's a smart way to do it. I mean, Marvel does it. DC does it. They all have their, hey, here's what's coming up. And they watch social media. They pay people to watch social media to see if it's being talked about.
Right.
And if it's not being talked about, I mean, it may still get made, but it's probably only going to get like a 4 to 6 issue run. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the main next thing. And I'll probably have some other creators involved in that. And then I have a ton of series that I'm ready to launch. It's just kind of time and money to get them, the
roots of all evil, time and money.
Yeah. They're like written, but I have to, do the Kickstarter, get the finances, find the artist for it. So, those are sitting there waiting, and then, working on getting some other people out there also. And then hopefully, just kind of keep it growing. I'd like to grow the label, grow the roster, grow the titles. And ultimately I'd love to be able to see Kill Stand being made into like I see it as like an adult animation, kind of like the HBO Spawn series.
Yeah.
That I can see it as.
Dude, that would be so dope. And honestly, that would be one of those where, HBO, hit him up. I kind of want to see that one happen myself because it's such a fun series. Like issue 1, people like to slow roll their issue 1s. You may get to how this person became who they are, right? Now, Kill Stand just gets in that door. He's already wearing the mask and he's fucking guns blazing and again, felling upwards in the most outstanding ways.
Right. Yeah. We throw you right in the deep end right away. That's the, you got to have that hook. It's so easy to lose people because like we talked earlier, there's so much content. So like if you can hook them right away and grab them, I didn't want to give anyone a chance to slip away,
Oh, no, it's one of those where you flip that cover. Well, in my case, I scrolled down.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh.
Yeah.
And it just like, page. I'm like, dude, I think I probably emailed you like right after I read it. And I was just like, hey, let's get you on the books.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
If you're going to give advice to any of these new guys coming up into this, what would you tell to them?
Well, like I mentioned a second ago, make sure you have lots of time and money. That's the first thing. If you have time and money, you can make it work. The more time and the more money you have, the more likely you can make it work.
And the better it's going to be.
But I will say this, and I said this on another show the other day, but I would say don't I think my dog escaped my yard. Can you hold on one second?
Yeah, no, you're good, man.
That's what happens when you have 4 dogs. They're always running amok.
I got 3 cats, and I had one try to break out the other day. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So the advice I would give, this is kind of a 2-pronged piece of advice, but I think they go together. The first thing I'd say is don't write for the algorithm. And what I mean by that is don't write something you think that people are going to love. Don't write something you think that is going to like game the system and like, oh, this genre is really popular. Or I can like,
you're not going to game the system, and that algorithm is just going to change before you ever hit it on the shelf.
Well, yeah, that too. But also, I mean, my main point with that is it's never going to connect with people because you're not connected to it. So write what you love for a reason, something with purpose that's truly like on your heart. And that sounds cheesy, but however you want to feel it, on your mind, something you believe in. And people are more likely to gravitate to it because it's going to be real. It's going to be how you really feel and something you really believe in and love. Not just a thing you wrote because you thought it would catch on, and take this in the spirit it's intended, guys. If you're not ready to fully commit the time and effort it's going to take to do this thing, don't start. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm not telling you to not start. I think you absolutely should if you have something you love doing. Just be ready to sacrifice a lot of time and effort, and you're going to have a lot of ups and downs and a lot of pitfalls, and things are going to go wrong, and you have to be prepared for that. And, you're going to have bad days where you feel like giving up, or maybe, you give up for a couple days and circle back or whatever. Just know that like, it's going to take all that. So if you're not prepared for all that, you're not ready to start the journey. Don't do it half-assed. Make sure you're ready to give it your all.
Yep. So. 100%. What's next for Inferno, man? I know we were talking a little bit about it before, but what's next? And when can we expect it?
Kill Stand number 4 is next. That's the next thing we got right now. That'll be out hopefully timeline-wise. What's today? Mid-March, we're like April. Probably, hopefully I think we should see it in June, hopefully.
Okay.
Is kind of the timeline we're shooting for right now. That's the big next thing. Then also, I guess this is kind of a thing I haven't really talked about yet, but we are also going to, with this next Kickstarter for number 4, we are going to be offering a trade paperback. We're going to do a collected edition of the first 4 issues. So for people who want to like to, kind of binge read, we're going to have that option. I'm him. Yeah, there you go. So it's good to throw in a backpack and travel with. So we're going to do that with the Kickstarter for number 4. Then hopefully I think after that, the next thing will be the anthology. I have some really cool stories I want to tell that are smaller. Some are one-off things. And I kind of want to make that happen. So I think that's the next thing.
Dude, I like it. And whenever the Kickstarter is ready, man, if you just shoot me a message, whether it's on Instagram or whatever, I'll make sure I share that around as well.
Yeah,
So
the pre-launch page for number 4 is up now. So if you
okay,
go to,
hey, if I don't think did you send that to me when
I don't think so. Let me get it for
if
you.
you shoot that to me, I'll make sure it's in the description when this goes live.
Yeah, because if you the more followers we have on the pre-launch page when we launch, the better odds of funding faster, the higher up in the algorithm you go, and more people see it. So we're trying to get as many as we can.
Mhm.
That let's see. Let me give it to you right now. 1 second.
Yeah, and dude, I don't know if you've ever read a description of one of my videos, but I make sure it's all in there.
All right, I just sent it to you there in the
Perfect.
private chat. So yeah,
Okay.
you
Okay, I
can,
see it.
so yeah, you can follow the link that in the show, or just type in "kill stand number 4" in the search box on Kickstarter, and it'll take you to it.
Yeah, we'll getting this added into. See, for people out there who do this for a living, like I do, when you have your notes and your questions over here, make sure you can still edit it. That way, if they do send you something else,
Yeah,
you can Control V it right in. That way, when you go to make this here into your YouTube description, you have everything right in front of you, and you don't have to do a whole bunch of extra work.
a little easier.
Because if you're like me and you're lazy, the easier you can make things, the better.
Yeah.
And I am that lazy. But tell everybody now where they can find you.
Yeah, so for the comic book, go to inferno.earth on Instagram. That's our Instagram page. That's where I'm most active. We do have a Facebook. I don't use it as often. We get a lot of engagement on Instagram, so I've just tried to focus on that. And I post new content pretty much every day. Like I said, some stuff it's not all about Kill Stand. It's all kinds of stuff. I'm probably going to start doing like a fun thing, right, where I do some comic book trivia with my mom.
Nice.
So I think that just a little fun game where to see how much she actually knows, which is very little to nothing. Or you go to our website, inferno.earth. That's there's no .com. .earth is the domain. We have a shop up there. You can order all the back issues. We've got multiple covers, foil editions, variants, all kinds of stuff. It's all right there. You can even order digital copies. We'll email them to you. Also, I do stand-up comedy for a living. So you can follow me at
Thank you. That was my next one.
Yeah, follow me at Deece.comedy on Instagram, or Deece Comedy is my website. I've got tour dates all across the country. In the next few months, I'll be in Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and a couple other places. So I'll be doing comedy somewhere near your face. If you want me to come to you, shoot me a message. We'll hook some up. I'll come anywhere if you pay me. If you like comedy, I've got a comedy special. We're doing a deal on my website right now where if you go to the Not Your Cup of Tea link on my website, Deece Comedy, click that, and it's all pay whatever you want, donation only, and we'll send you the full 1 hour download 4K special. You can pay $5, $10, doesn't matter. You can even pay $1. It's a dick move, but you'll still get it. We will send it to you. I get like 37 cents after PayPal fees.
Yeah,
I'll get it to you. And then I also host a weekly podcast called The Social Hour. New episodes almost every Wednesday. I take a couple Wednesdays off for travel, but pretty much every Wednesday. It's a comedy talk show. I've been doing it for 12 years now. It's fun. I kind of talk to everyone. I've talked to everyone from presidential candidates to Kevin Eastman of the Ninja Turtles. So we talked to all sorts of different people. It's a fun show. Check that out too.
I like it, man. Appreciate you. Deece, thank you for joining us tonight, man. A ton of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing the story behind Inferno Comics and the creative journey that you are building. Independent creators continue to push the boundaries of storytelling and comedy, and it's always exciting to see new publishers and new voices stepping forward into the indie comic sphere. If you want to follow Deece and see what Inferno Comics is building next, make sure you check out the links down in the description when this video goes live, I think Friday.
All right.
I'm pretty sure it will be Friday. And to everyone watching and listening, thank you all for your support of independent comics and the stories they bring to life. But until next time, the Council of Nerds is adjourned. This has been the USDN Podcast, where indie comics come to life. Y'all be safe out there.
It's a trap!